I'm Sacha.
I'm Luke.
And we need to talk about jazz. I love that.
Who are we talking to? Who are we going to go out and meet?
Well, the first day of the interviews, we're going to be interviewing Joe in Bush Studios.
And who's Joe? What does he play?
Joe is a really lovely guy. He's from Norwich originally, but he's living in Bristol. And he's gigging in Bristol mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then the next day, what's that?
The next day, we've got a double bill, which is going to be a bit...
That's going to be busy.
It's going to be a bit busy, but we've got it and it's going to be fine. We will be shooting Ashton along with his family. Yeah, I mean, what are you most excited for in the shoot?
I'm really excited for meeting Ashton and his family. Especially his sister Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey's
That's
dope.
gonna be
Bailey's really dope.
I've seen her music, I've heard her music, it sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll catch a train at 11? And then head to London.
Tomorrow we're just gonna shoot as much B-roll as possible.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see all the people, and I'm really excited to just talk about jazz.
Yeah, me too.
That's what we need to do.
That's
right?
what we're gonna do. That's what we need to do.
We need to talk about jazz.
Please support our GoFundMe.
Please. Gordon, what's the plan then, Luke?
I guess we just get
Go
to bricklaying
do
and
something.
see what we can find. Hook our heads in the door. And if we like it,
See
we'll
what
go
we
in.
can get. Let's see how much footage we can possibly get. Where are we?
So we're at Old Street Records. It's a little jazz club just around the corner from Troy Bath. You hear the live music through the walls, dude. Jesus, man. All of it was improvised, completely improvised. About maybe an hour and a half, 2 hour set of them just going at it. Show them surroundings, Bash. Where are we? The blues bar right there. The blues bar, there's a bar, there's a club over there, there's a club over there, there's a club out there. That's what the Troy bar is. Yeah. Now we're just gonna roam the streets and see if we can find another one, to be honest. I feel like us being in there recording them as well, made them want to play it even better. I saw their faces.
They saw.
They looked at the cameras and they saw us and they were like, wow! And then the drummer saw it and he smiled and he just went for so many different solos. The bassist was playing the bass with one hand and drinking a beer with the other. And the keyboardist was mixing at the same time as playing the music. It's absolutely beautiful. I genuinely every Tuesday, it's gonna be live records, Old Street Records, in Shoreditch. We have to be back. It's amazing.
This is Joe. He is a drummer and a bassist, and he is from, I think it's Norfolk, mate.
Yeah.
And Bristol.
Yeah, from Norfolk, living in Bristol.
You gig as an artist, or?
Yeah. So most of the stuff I do, I play with the University Jazz Orchestra.
Yeah.
And we're sort of playing all around the city. We do a lot of student formals and stuff, got our own gigs as well.
Would you like to say that jazz has given you like a brighter scope of what you can do in your life?
I think it depends how people get into it and sort of what their involvement is. really, if anyone is in any band that's gigging, they're gonna pick up little things that just help everyone else and make things run smoother. You know, if anyone has ever had to run sound at a live event, the first time is awful, the second time is awful, the third time is awful. Eventually it's like, oh, you've stood with the sound guy and watched him build a mix, and it's like, oh, so you're doing it this way. In terms of playing stuff, like just having a good rep is, I think, a very jazz specific thing. You know, if someone calls a tune, you don't know it, and they're like, oh, it's alright, it's rhythm changing on B flat, you're like, fine. It's almost a very spiritual thing, being in an environment with people that share such deep beliefs and values about anything. You know, it just so happens to be that music, and more specifically this kind of music, is what we
So, Ashton.
Hello.
Who are you?
So I am a multifaceted artist and creator from Northwest London. I've been singing and making music ever since I was very, very little.
Like, what is your genre of music?
I'm gonna say experimental neo-soul funk.
What is your connection to jazz?
My connection to jazz started when I was very, very young, and my dad playing us Horace Silver in the car. Yeah, I think his philosophy was, I need to give my children a good musical foundation because there's a lot of trash out there. I mean, I grew up on Stevie Wonder and all of these amazing musical influences. So jazz being kind of the culmination of all this experimental noise. I make noise for a living, so yeah. It's it's good.
It's dope. Right.
So in general, how influential do you think jazz is to music in general?
I feel like a lot of what we hold high in regards in current popular music could not exist without jazz. Kind of leading that form of creation, free flow. So people aren't as afraid to experiment with different sounds. And we come to some lazy conclusions, but I feel like we needed that process to get to that end.
Helpless as a killing of a tree.
So who are you and what do you do?
I'm Bailey. Stage name Bailey Blue, if you really want to know. I am a musician, voiceover artist, human being.
What is your connection with jazz?
Like everything ever. I mean, obviously, like listening to it and like growing up with it, sort of not like straight ahead jazz, but kind of jazz influenced stuff. But my boyfriend is a jazz musician, so I'm like constantly around it and like kind of surrounded by it in my day-to-day life, sort of. But just kind of everywhere and everything.
How would you say jazz has influenced you?
I used to do, when I was like first learning piano, it was very like classical based. Sort of as I began my journey into jazzy territories, I don't know, everything I do musically now has jazz influence.
Is there any way that jazz has like changed the way you think about life in general?
I mean, I guess so, probably like underlyingly, but people are like, oh no, I hate jazz, it's awful. Like so many films that you're watching or like TV shows or anything, it's just like the whole soundtrack is literally made by it. And it's like rooting from jazz.
When people say they don't like jazz, I think they think of like one specific thing. Yeah, exactly. I get like sometimes you kind of have to know how difficult it is to like do that. And like jazz is kind of in everything, and like a lot of people, they say I hate jazz, and they're like, oh, what about like fucking Thundercat, or like anything like that, and like it's got its roots from jazz.
That was
Sweet.
cool. Nice, as we said before. Pretty
I mean-
successful day.
Yeah, sure. For sure, we've got great clips. Really had like some great and insightful conversations today.
Yeah.
Like up there, we were filming all the action shots, and like Bailey's like, "Let me just call my dad for this 3-part harmony."
Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name.
Yeah, it's lovely to work with like artists with such like variety like that.
So many
Talented people in this room,
and
like every
they
single
all have their own studio.
every
It's
single
great.
one of them. It's crazy. All right, we'll see you on our way to fun. You're trying to end Slater too.
Why not?
Okay.
What if I just